Welcome to Yonder Windows tutorial on how to make a duct tape makeup bag. And today we're going to be working with the zebra print tape by Duct brand and then the hot pink tape by Scotch. And we're going to be cutting 18-inch strips and just layering them on top of each other. And we're also going to be using a craft knife and a self-healing mat to cut our edges nicely. So I've actually already prepared several pieces of tape that are layered, and I'm going to just stick them down on my surface. It's fine just to stick them down there, they'll come right back up. And I'm basically then just layering these pieces of tape. I have 5 pieces total. I have 3 of the 18-inch zebras and 2 of the 18-inch pink. And I'm just laying on top of it and overlapping about a 1/2 inch. And then you just kind of smooth that down. And make sure your edges are down. And then I'm going to actually just, this is actually, this is your outside of the bag. And we're going to then take that and flip it over so that we can work on the lining of the bag. So flip that over, and then I'm going to make this, the inside of the bag be the hot pink. You can do, of course, whatever color you want. And I'm going to stick my cutting mat down there just so I have something to cut on. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball an 18-inch strip here. And I'm going to try to line up the edge as much as possible. Again, the left and right edges don't matter as much as the long edge, but you do want the long edge to be lined up as much as possible. So I'm going to just lay that down, smooth it down, and then I'm going to trim it. Okay, through the magic of television, we now have a nearly complete lining, and I'm just going to take my last strip and put it in there and line up my edge as much as possible. And then what I'm going to do is just trim that again. And we have then essentially our piece of fabric, our back and our front. And now what I'm going to do is just trim up a little bit the edges and make sure everything looks pretty square. Okay, so here we've actually trimmed everything up, and I'm going to just kind of take this and try to fold it up and figure out exactly how I want it to go together. And you can do this, I really kind of play this part by ear, and sometimes I even end up trimming the ends off if I feel like it's too long, but I think we'll be fine with this width. And I'm just kind of measuring it to see how I want it to fold, and then I'm going to crease when I get to the part where I'm good with it. I'm going to crease it with my fingers, and then I'm going to fold down this inner edge, which we will at some point tape down. I just want to kind of get an idea for my overlay for my flap, and so I'm going to go ahead and fold that down and crease it as well. And you can use, I use my craft knife to kind of make sure that crease is good, and you can also use a bone folder or pencil or whatever you have. And then fold the flap down just to make sure everything's matching up like you would like. And again, try to make sure you have good creases. Fold this top part down as well, and again, we'll tape that. We just want to make sure that we have really good reinforced edges. And there we go. This is what it will look like. Okay, now I'm going to take a strip and I'm going to fold these edges down that we have already creased and just tape over and smooth down so that we have a nice, secure, strong edge. And then take my craft knife and trim those overages on either side. And then I'm actually just going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side that it was folded down. And you know, I used to use scissors for this and found that using the craft knife is so much easier. The scissors get gunked up and you have to stop and clean them. And the craft knife is so much, makes us so much better lines as far as cutting. It's much more even and easier to do. And so I'm just going to, again, tape this down. And then I'm going to trim my edges. And if you have some overages like this, some little 1/2 inch to inch slices, I actually save those for other projects sometimes. I have like a little board that I stick these on, and then actually you might even be able to use it later on in this project. So you might just want to save those little edges. And then what I'm going to do is tape up the sides of the bag. So I've already measured out one piece that's the exact edge of size of the edge of the bag, and we're going to position it to overlap about halfway. So just kind of position the tape where it overlaps halfway. And yes, that will somewhat obstruct the pocket in the bag. We're going to come back and liberate that in just a minute. So put that down and don't mash down too hard right there in the pocket. Go to the other side and just put that on there and give it a nice crease. You are going to see the zebra a little bit through that. It's okay. You don't with the parts where we layered the zebra over the pink, but anyway. Let's see. There we're going to slice this so that we liberate the pocket. And just kind of mash that down. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, now we're going to make our flower for the bag. And I've cut a piece about 3 or 4 inches long. And I have traced a circle. I used one of my polymer clay cutting circles just to kind of as a guide. It's roughly 1.25 inches or so. And I'm going to cut that. And through the magic of television, I now have a cut circle. And then I'm going to take my 2 pieces of tape and put them back to back. This is relatively easy with the Duct brand tape, but with the Scotch brand, it tends to curl up if you put it on its back with the sticky side up, as you'll see. So what I'm going to do to prevent that, and there you go. What I'm going to do to prevent that is actually take the edges of the tape and fold them down where the sticky side is partially down. Do the same thing on the other side. And then that way I have a straight, nice piece of tape to line my other piece up with. And what we're going to do is we're actually not going to line it up completely. The top edge of the piece of tape that we're laying down, we're going to overlap about a 1/2 inch on each side. 1/2 inch, I'm sorry, more of like a 1/4 inch on each side. So that, and then I'm going to flip it over, and the sticky part on the other side, I'm going to actually take and fold down all the way down through there. Okay, and then on the other side, I have a sticky part that is showing. And what we're going to do next, I'm going to grab my scissors. You can do this with scissors or a craft knife, but we're going to make fringe all the way down this piece. And I'm going to start at one end, and just, you can do it almost down to the sticky part. You want it to be fairly deep. Okay, now we have our fringe, and what we're going to do is take our fringe, and with the circle sticky side up, we're going to start kind of wrapping it around the edge of the circle with sticky side to sticky side, and just kind of making a little outer circle, the outside of the flower, and then kind of working it, pinching it as you need to make a circle. And then as we get around to meeting on this, where the edges meet, then you want to actually just take it and kind of spiral it in. And again, trying to get sticky to sticky, you know, kind of pleating it as you need to and pinching it to get it to stick. And just keep spinning it and sticking it down. And then once you get to the inner part, we're just going to make sure that that it's all covered, and then we don't have a lot of white space showing. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make our flower, make a little place where it can attach to the bag. So what I'm going to do is put this down on my piercing mat, and I have a little paper piercer. You could also use a pin, and I'm just going to poke a hole in it. And then I'm going to stick my little decorative brad with my little diamond looking thing in it, and stick it through there. And then pierce it through and just kind of fluff the flower a little bit and set it aside. And then I'm going to take my bag, going to measure where I kind of want the flower to be on there, on the flap, and then put my piercer down at my piercing mat down again and pierce a little hole in the front. Then I'm just going to take my flower, stick it through, and flip it over and fold the brads down. And then remember when I said to keep some tape in case you needed it? Just take a little small piece of the pink tape and put it down, and that will cover up the brad and make it a little bit stronger. Okay, now we're going to make our clasp, and I'm just using some of the round Velcro that comes in a package, and I'm just gonna, I've taken my soft side and my prickly side, and I've put them together face down so that there's a sticky side on each side now, and I'm going to put it down, position it on my bag where I want it, and then I can actually just fold it over, and the other side will stick exactly where it should be so that everything lines up, and just kind of tamp it down. And that way you don't have anything that's misaligned. And there we go. There is your duct tape makeup bag. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and we hope that you'll visit us sometime at www.throughyonderwindow.com.